Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record weekly review special for week 45 of the Gaming Decathlon competition. This week was an absolute stunner. It's the biggest week in the history of the channel, and yet it completely snuck up on me. I had no idea that this score was going to be quite this high. But this week I brought in 2,931 points, an increase of nearly 900 from a week ago. I knew the score was going up, but until I started tallying things up, I had no idea that it was going to be like this, because that is now the new all-time best round score. This is the best week that I have ever had in the Gaming Decathlon's history. Of course, 9 of 10 games are all at least 100 points, and we saw some big movers. We'll break those down a little bit. First off, the virtual best this week, rising by 500 points, 4,114. That is despite 2 new games appearing on this list. One literally just started at the end of last week, but the other has been around for a few weeks, but just now took over on the list after the retirement of Steel Division 2. And both of those came in with hefty points. I knew they'd have good points. I didn't realize their points were going to be that big. But again, we'll get back to that. The all-time virtual best also finally seeing an increase from 6,084 up to 6,235. That is also making a move in a certain area. Let's start breaking it down though. Looking at the 10 games individually. In Pro Cycling Manager 2019, Career Mode, solid week, 154 points. Good step from where we were a week ago. In the Stage Racer, 157 points. Also, a steady increase from where we were a week ago. Classics Rider, 136. Big increase from a week ago. So all 3 of those seeing steady improvement. There's a decent chunk of points that came from right there. Now, a game that just reset this week, Motorsport Manager, new season, but last season we only had 27 points at the end of the year. It was nice to have 27 after so long with 0 in that game. The new season right away starts with points, albeit 5. Not a huge total, but we've only done 1 race. Long ways to go. Even though that game reset, it was a very small amount of points that we lost, and that's one of the reasons why we've had such a good week. Now, here's the first replacement. Steel Division 2, retired, out, gone. Finished with, what, 250 points? Not a big total. Campaigns were rather difficult, especially with the timelines. We were going to win every single one of them, just not at the rate, not at the pace that they wanted me to. But Rebel Inc. comes in right away with 590 points. Now, of course, the game's not brand new. Rebel Incorporated, we're a dozen episodes in. So it has been going for a little while. It's had a chance to establish itself. It's been going on for a few weeks. But let's break down that score real quick so you understand where these 590 points came from. It is a rather simple scoring measure. It's only broken up into 3 parts. First, difficulty. There are 3 difficulty settings: casual, normal, brutal. There's massive difference between these 3 settings in gameplay. So there's a big chunk of points coming out of this section. Casual, worth nothing. Normal, worth 150. Playing on brutal, worth 300 points. So there's a good jump from normal to brutal. Now, this week, the last episode, I did jump to brutal. That's not where we got our score from this week, though. Our score came from the first episode of the week, which was still played on normal, and was the last time that I'll play on normal. The game's going to get a lot tougher now that we're stepping it up to brutal, but it does give us a chance to score more. Now, a lot of the points come from unlocking features. If you've ever played the Rebel games, the Rebel Plague, Rebel Inc., the way they work is you're going to unlock new strains of a virus. You're going to unlock new governors, maps, advisors in Rebel Incorporated. So between the maps, the governors, and the advisors, combined, each of them are worth 10 points. We have 5 maps. We started with 6 governors. There's now 7 already. The game is still in beta. It's still adding to that list. And there are 30 advisors. It takes a long time to get through 30 campaigns to get all 30 advisors unlocked and get all of those points available. But right now, that's 420 points. Now, I expect more to be added. They've already added a new governor. So eventually, I need that to get to 450, meaning right now it's not even possible to get 1,000 in this game, because that'll make the difference. The 300 and the 450 is 750. The final 250 points come from stars. And you have 0 to 5 stars every time you play. 50 points for each star earned. So week by week, it's going to be based off of the number of stars. So if we lose, that's no stars. So we could have weeks with really low point totals, or we could have weeks with high point totals. But 5 stars is the clear goal and target. And we did it this week on normal. And that's why I've pushed up to brutal. Figured it out, got to 5 stars, and then took on the new challenge of moving up the difficulty level. So we picked up 250 there. We were playing on normal. That's 150. So that's 400 points right there. The rest of the points came from having all 5 maps, all 7 governors, and about 7 advisors, give or take. In Rebel Cops, we finished off another campaign. So we're at 300 now. Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019. We had our best season ever. We didn't win Conference A in the regular season, but we were second. And we actually went on and won the Conference A tournament, which was amazing. We were having such a fantastic season. We were ranked in the top 3 in the entire nation. After winning that tournament, we entered the NCAA tournament ranked second overall. So we had a number 1 seed. We had high hopes, and it all came crashing down pretty early in the tournament for us. So horrible, disappointing defeat. But because of the successes up until that moment, we brought in a lot of points by winning that conference tournament and having such a good record on the season as a whole. So we pulled in 620 points, but the season came to an end without a title again, though we did pick up a conference title, so that is worth a little bit, another 10 points permanently. So that'll always be there, that'll always be applied. And the team is still, sky's the limit. There's so much talent, and the recruiting is getting better. So we'll see that hopefully that score will be eclipsed before long, and we'll keep going. But the big target is the title. We're there now. We've won the Conference A title. I'd love to win it every season. I'm not sure we're there yet. Not even close, but we're now capable of competing for it. But we're also capable of competing for a national title. So until we win one of those, there's still work to be done. PCM 18 in the career mode, 212 points, making really solid progress, though we are already starting to get fairly late in the season. I've done a lot of quick sims this season, not doing every single race, so I've left a lot of points on the table, and our calendar is a little bit light. So I'm not sure we're going to get to 439 at the end of the year. At this point, my biggest goal for that series is to sign enough riders to bump the team up to World Tour status, even though I'm planning on ending the series at the end of the season and moving on to a PCM 19 career mode using a mod. So there's that. But still, I'm not sure we're going to hit that 439 mark, so that might be where that game finishes out at. But maybe not. We'll see. It's possible. F1 2019, last question mark career. Solid week. I've really got some stability now. And I got my first ever podium. We took second in Sochi. First place, Hamilton was still... They had quite the gap. I got around Bottas, but Bottas was well behind Hamilton. We ended up finishing 4 or 5 seconds behind Hamilton, so we were definitely not there close to winning. And I took a good little bit of damage on the wings making my way through that field, but I cut my elbows out and just charged through. I got really lucky. Turn 1, I was able to get around maybe 4 to 6 cars and then made it through almost cleanly. But then that turn, like 3-4 long left-hand complex, that's where I really gained a lot. I went around the outside, and again, the way that series is set up is everything's set up to be really challenging other than the AI level is fairly low. But the way that lower AI level works is they are just as fast on the straights as they always are. It's in the corners. So you can gain a little bit on the exit of a corner, but you can definitely gain a lot through corners. The best way for that to be effective for you to make passes are the long sweeping corners. So long corners, their pace is sustained for a while, and you, if you can drive clean through, if you can find a racing line, can make up a ton of ground on those long sweeping corners. And that little turn, like 3-4, 3-4-5 complex is so long and so wide. And so a couple times I was able to make it work up the inside, but for the most part I went around the outside. Even though it's a longer path around, I'd have enough of a pace advantage that I think all but one lap I gained at least a position through that complex. And we got all the way up to second. It was awesome. And then finally, another new one. This one kind of came out of nowhere last week. I briefly mentioned that the college football game might be coming to an end, depending on what the results were and depending on when Football Manager, along with Drafting Sports Pro Basketball, when those would be coming out. Well, I have the Pro Basketball game, and it's in beta, but it's not ready to go. It will absolutely 100% be reset. Football Manager might force a reset on the series, but it often doesn't. You're usually able to take a series that you start in beta and carry it straight on through the full release. And that's what I'm hoping for. So even though both games are out in beta right now, neither game is on full release. I'm hoping that FM20 will be able to carry straight on through upon full release. And therefore I started that one first. And then here in a little bit, I'll go ahead and get started on the Pro Basketball series. So FM20 jumps in, and it jumps in at 400 points. Now here's the thing on that and why it's got such a high score already. I did a series for FM18, and I did a series for FM19. So if you're newer to the channel, you might not have seen those. But right back, one of the original 10 games that I started with was Tier 6 National League, so outside of the Football League of England, 6th tier football. We won the league, got promoted, went to 5th tier, won the league, got promoted, went to 4th tier, won the league. So 3 seasons, 3 championships, 3 promotions. So when FM19 came out, I made the conscious decision of carrying over the work I had done and building upon that instead of starting over. Because at 1 episode per week, which is what I was doing back then for every series, not just some of the series, 1 episode per week, we were never going to get past 52 episodes. So I was never going to get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons in to build and build and build and build and eventually become a European champion. It was going to be impossible in the number of episodes possible, and it was requiring a ton of time in between each and every episode of playing a lot off camera, work. Okay, now's the next episode, and then work to try to even just get through the 3 seasons I did. So I made the conscious decision to carry on. We finished by getting promoted to League 1. So I started FM19 in League 1. We played one season, we won League 1, we got promoted to the championship. But I'd kind of had enough of FM for a little while, and instead of moving on to the next season, I ended the series, moved on to another game. So I only played one season. I'd like to go deeper with this one. I'd like to play 2 or 3 seasons this year, though I've noticed my views are down a little bit, so we'll see if they slowly build up over time. I have less views for the first episode of FM20 than I think I had for the first episode of FM19, which is a little bit shocking considering how much the channel is way bigger this year than it was a year ago on that release. So, a little surprising on that. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please do check out that series. But anyway, I'd like to play multiple seasons and see what we can do. But carrying on with the work that I've done previously, we ended with a League 1 championship with a promotion to the championship. So we're now in the second tier of English football of the pyramid, playing in the championship. And this time, instead of a custom team, I've taken Swansea City. So with my management, we'll see what we can do, where we can go, and we'll see if we're in the Premier League next time out. That's the goal. We keep building, but the way the point structure works for that, each tier that I am promoted, each season, there's only so many points available. There's only a few hundred points that you could possibly score in a season. A lot of it was going to come down to taking a lower league team and moving through the tiers. So much so that I have a base score season by season by season that goes up by 100 each season. As I've been promoted 4 times, I have 400 base points. The Premier League would give me 500 base points. Now 2 games into the season, and each game counts. 3 points, 1 point, 0 points. I'm still at 400, so you can maybe guess what happened in those first 2 games, but teams looked really good despite those 2 losses. So we sit on 400 points with that base of being in the championship, and that's why we're there. That's also why you can see in relationship, FM 2019 is in 8th place. They're on the right-hand side of the screen of the all-time virtual best with 466. So we ended the season with 166 points on top of the 300 base from the lower tier. But because we were promoted, now we have a 400 base instead of a 300 base. All right. But anyway, on to that all-time virtual best and some movement there. Some big movement and some news. All right. Well, Rebel Inc., though it's been active for almost a month now, jumps in at 6th place with 590 after that awesome 5-star performance this week. So it's into the virtual best. It knocks down a place, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Also, 10th place was PCM 18 career mode, so it's bumped out. Drops to 11th, so it's outside the list again. And then newcomer, FM 20, jumps in at 12th, bumping the stage racer from 11th all the way down to 13th. Also of note, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So the next 5 games on the outside of the top 10 looking in are all current active games. So even though I only have 2 active games inside the top 10, there is 5 games right there looking to jump in. So I very much expect those scores to come up in the not-so-distant future. That's going to do it for this review special. No, it's not, because I said there was one more thing, and here it is. We've hit a landmark. We've hit a landmark with that new score. So that new score being 6,235, we've hit a new landmark. So here's what I'm looking at. These are the national records in the decathlon. So official world competitions, so Olympics, championships, world championships, so on and so forth. So the all-time record holder is, and this is partially what kind of got me going on this in the first place, the world record holder was a classmate of mine at the University of Oregon, Ashton Eaton. So Ashton Eaton, his record is 9,045 points. Now, I'm nowhere near that point right now. I've got a long ways to go to get to 90.45. But he's the record holder. Now, 86 nations have competed in the decathlon. More than 86 athletes have competed, but 86 nations have sent an athlete to compete. The lowest record of any nation was Turks and Caicos, Alberto Smith. Now, I passed him up a long time ago. He scored 4,536. But the second lowest of any of those 86 nations was Afghanistan, and their record holder is Saeed Jalani, 6,132. I passed him up this week, so I move up to 85th in comparison to the national records. The next landmark, Paraguay, 6,943. So I've still got a ways to go to that, and then we bump into the 7,000s, and the scores get much closer after that. So that next landmark is still a ways off, but once I do pass it, I should start making a lot more rapid progress up the list. For now, I sit in 85th. That's going to do it for this review special. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Decathlon Gamer. I'll see you next time. Have a good week. Bye for now.